Hello and welcome to our number talk. Today we are looking at the expression 14 plus 79. What we do in a number talk is we use mental math. That means no paper, no pencil to try to solve an expression. And then when we have our solution, we look at all of the different strategies we could have used to figure it out. So before we go any further, let's go ahead and do that. Pause the video, work out 14 plus 79 in your head. When you have your answer, unpause the video and we'll look at all of our different strategies together. So the first thing we could have done is to use our making tens strategy, which uses the associative property. So that's our grouping property. And what this does is this takes our factors, and if we have three or more add-ins, we can change the grouping. And so let's take a look at our first add-in right here, 14. And let's think, how far away are we from our next 10? Well, I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more. 6 more gets me up to 20. So I'm going to take 6 from my second add-in right here, and I'm going to add it together with my 14. So instead of 14 plus 79, what I'm going to do is reimagine that 79 in two chunks. First, the 6 that I need to make that 14 up into a 20, and then whatever's left over, and that's going to get me 73. So 6 plus 73, that gets me 79, and the associative property lets me regroup them, so I keep the same add-ins. I'm simply going to add up my 14 and my 6 first. So 14 and 6, that's the 20 I was looking for. And then there's 73 left. Look how easy that is, 20 and 73. And that's going to get, hopefully, the answer you have in your head, 93. We can also use friendly numbers. So friendly numbers takes our two add-ins and looks to see if there are easier numbers within them that we can add up mentally. So usually those friendly numbers end with a 0 or a 5. So I'm going to take a look at my 14, and I'm just going to kind of reimagine it as a 10 and a 4, because that 10 is going to be super easy to add. At my 79, that's really close to 75, and 75 is going to be easy to add. So I'm just going to do 75, and then there's the 4 left over. Now, I know I want to regroup them, so I need my associative property, but there's another property of addition that I can use, and that's my commutative property, which lets me reorder them. That's why we know that 5 plus 8 is the same as 8 plus 5. So I'm going to reorder them and regroup them because I want my two friendly numbers together, 10 and 75. And look how easy that is. 10 and 75, let's take these two big chunks and add them together. Well, that's just going to be 85. And then I've got my 1s left over. I've got my 4 and my 4, and that's just a double. We know that 4 and 4 make 8. So what I have left is 85 plus 8. We still have to regroup a little bit, but it's going to come up with the same answer of 93. Now, many of us will just go straight to place value, and that's a great strategy. If we can't think of anything else, what we do is we take each number, we break it apart into expanded form. So our 14 is 10 and 4. Our 79 is 70 and 9. And then we're going to use both our associative property to regroup them and our commutative property to reorder them. So we take our 10s first. So I've got my 10 and I've got my 70. Let's bring those together. 10 plus 70, and that's going to be 80. And then I've got my 1s left over, my 9 and my 4. So I've got my 4 plus 9, and that's 13. And that's a basic fact. Once we get there, there's no regrouping needed. 80 and 13 brings us back up to 93. Now, adding up in chunks is kind of similar to our place value, except we keep the first add-in all together. So we've got our 14 and 79, and we're going to keep that 14 intact. We're going to break up the 79 into its place value, 70 plus 9, and we're simply going to use the associative property to kind of regroup and add the 70 and the 14 because there's no regrouping necessary. We can just say that's 84. But when we add that 9 that's left over, this is what's left. We still have to regroup a little bit to get us back up into our 93. We can also use compensation, which can sometimes make it a very simple problem. 14 and 79, what we do is we look at our two add-ins and we think which one is closest to the next 0. And really it's the 79. Look, I've got 1 away from 80. So I'm going to take 1 away from this 14, and I'm just going to take it away. So that's actually just going to leave 13 left. That's all that's left is my 13. But I'm going to add that 1 back over here because I want to change the 79 up into an 80. So I have a balanced expression because I took 1 away from one add-in, but I added it to the other add-in. And look how simple that is. 13 plus 80, no regrouping necessary, 93. So those are all the different ways that I can think of to add 14 plus 79. If you have another idea that you found, that's wonderful. Add it as a comment on the video. If you are a teacher and would like a copy of the slide deck for your own use in the classroom, you can find it on my website at 5minutemath.net.